Hey, Dave.
Yes, Boater.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Tekken.
I'm going to move away a little bit, but I'm going to ask you, Tekken who?
Why was it Tekken so long to start the stream? In honor of...
Wait for it. Wait for it. You know the disc is good when you hear the... There you go. You have good gameplay.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave, man.
And among other things, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the PlayStation 1's release.
Think about it. You're a kid in 1994 in Japan.
The 25th anniversary
So,
of the PlayStation
your
1.
parents or
Maybe
you
still
roll
on
up
the
to the
phone.
electronics store. On December 3rd, you grab this unproven yet product. It comes with, you know what? I cannot remember what game it came with, but they plug it in. You hear that sound, and you suddenly are exposed to an entirely different gaming just presentation than you've been used to from your Nintendos, from your Segas, especially from your Nintendos, as everyone says, for everything. So happy 25th birthday, PlayStation.
Or it wasn't different at all if you were a PC gamer in the 90s.
I mean, probably, but who had the money to be those people?
It was definitely one thing to be like, oh, hey, like if you were someone that was just, PC and playing these things off of CD-ROMs, that is the way to go. And then a console does that, and you're like, oh, hey, cool, I'll pay attention. Yeah, absolutely. So, hello, everyone in there. We are live right now in the Insane Games TV studio, a.k.a. Insane Games in the Wilton Mall. Hello, shoutouts to Breadbot9000 and Arrow's Dragonsbane. Yes, so PlayStation. I never had a PlayStation console growing up. As I intimated, I was a PC gamer.
I do.
I was a PC gamer, and my console experience went from Intellivision to original Xbox, with a whole lot of stuff skipped in the middle there.
I was gonna say that's quite a stopgap.
But that's fine because I was busy playing things like Descent and Diablo and Age of Empires and Doom and Wolfenstein 3D.
So you were keeping busy, not just keeping out of the loop.
Absolutely, yes. I was keeping in different loops. But PlayStation has been such a driving force for consoles. While the PS1 was definitely big, the legacy that it brought, like PS2, I think, maybe not counting like the Wii, I think was one of the best-selling consoles. Certainly,
I believe it beat the Wii. It still has the longest life of any
It
console.
had the biggest market share of its generation than any other generation since, and maybe before, aside from maybe the Atari. Like, it had such incredible market share, and even from there going forward, like the PS3 slowed down a little bit because the 360 passed it again, and then the PS4 took the lead. But like the original PlayStation and the little slim PS1 and whatever, I got served an ad today in the Facebook Marketplace of a really gross and yellowed PS1 with a couple of games and the cord all wrapped tight around it and like wrapping tight on the memory card. I'm like,
stop doing that. Stop wrapping your cable on the controller. Just your hand and loosely label, and then just tuck it in. Stop it.
Your controllers are gonna thank you. I lost a Xbox controller or two along the way like that. So me not having played PlayStation games too much, I think the only thing that really sticks out to me was when I was working at Game Nuts way back in the day, and like I had this one copy of, I think, Gran Turismo 2 that I used to test every system that came in, just because I absolutely adored the opening cinematic of it and like the music and everything like that. But I never actually like played a PS1 game unless you count a superior PC version that was then ported to PS1. But you have, yeah?
Oh yes.
You grew up with PS1 among other things.
In the thick of the PS1, including having a subscription to PlayStation Magazine, getting the weekly demo discs wherever I could get them.
Buddy, yes.
Be it Pizza Hut, be it from boxes of cereal, be it from Blockbuster when you would just use a friend's who has a like more Prime subscription, and you just take the demo disc, and then I would return it to him because I was faster than him somehow.
You didn't need it.
You didn't deserve it.
I did that with the original Xbox, definitely. The Xbox Magazine, the demo discs everywhere. Those are super effective.
Yes. Oh, yeah, getting a sampling enough of a game where I can know I want to play this or I do not want to play this.
Demos dropped out of favor for a while, and I will say that like game demos even now aren't that big a thing.
No.
Instead, you pay for like Game Pass, and you can just play the whole game, whatever they decide for this month that you can play. Xbox and PlayStation both kind of doing that, pay for their subscription and play a full game. But demos, a crafted demo, whether it's just like the first level or the demo for Fear was PC game, where it was like took some of the best chunks from the first 3 levels and just kind of stitched them together to show the best of the game. You don't see that anymore.
No. I will never forget playing the demo of Bushido Blade to death on the original PlayStation, getting all of my friends and family to play it, and then the subtle realization that that game was not sold in our area. Not a single copy.
Wow.
No Toys R Us, no EB Games is what we had in our area. Nobody had it. So we just kept playing the demo because you had all the characters unlocked. You could play one-on-one, which was totally fine. We would throw dirt in each other's eyes. Everyone would laugh. And I don't know if you've played Bushido Blade, but the trick of that game is they programmed in like the tenets of the Bushido code.
Yeah.
And if you played like the main campaign, but you didn't follow those tenets, like not attacking your opponent while you're on the ground, not running away, this and the other, the game would end after a certain number of time. They'd just be like, well, you were kind of a dick about it, so there's the game. But if you followed the Bushido code, there was like extra levels to be had and things like that. It was the coolest.
That's awesome.
It was in its heyday. The PlayStation also had what everyone remembers as the Final Fantasy games that everyone references. You remember them on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't play them on PlayStation, that's what you're thinking of. Final Fantasy VII, you're not thinking about the Switch port. You're not thinking about some emulator that someone had in 1994. You're thinking about the PlayStation version. Not the greatest hits either. Just the regular one, the Black Label.
Maybe you had the greatest hits one. That's fine. We're not judging.
The original Metal Gear Solid. All of these fun games that were built in with what is current day DLC, but then were just unlockables.
Because
you could,
like, especially for console, online wasn't a thing. And so, like, a game that I'm going to mention later on in the program was, like, a game from 96, and yes, you could download more stuff online because it was a PC game, and you could do that. It's PlayStation. It had a PS1 port that had a lot fewer things. And, like, again, for me, like, the PlayStation was just an inferior experience to what I was doing. But, like, talking demos, I played the demo for a game called Revolt that was radio-controlled car racing. It just had one level. You could choose from 3 different cars. And me, my dad, and my sister played that so much. And we would, like, do time trials just on the one level. And it was just really, really fun. Like doing a demo over and over again, no matter what you played it on. Like, I don't know how many times I played the Munch's Odyssey demo on Xbox. So, happy birthday to the PlayStation. We may celebrate your 25th birthday again next year when we celebrate the anniversary of the US
the North American release.
Yeah, but into your roots, the humble or not so much as they were, you have become an incredible force in the industry, and we salute you, PlayStation. There's some other news that's happened in the past week. Dave, do you want to take the lead on this? Because you found some interesting things.
So, Boater, you own a virtual reality headset, yes?
I do.
Now, what do you use the virtual reality headset for?
Beat Saber.
Beat
Pretty
Saber.
much exclusively.
Okay.
It's
Beat Saber,
the only workout I ever get.
The only other games I've seen you use it for are like the couple little tech demos it came with, which are good.
Yep, some with the
and
lab.
fun.
And Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes
Yes.
works really well in VR.
So a bomb diffusing game.
Yep.
Some environmental things, and then Beat Saber, which
Rhythm game.
I don't know if you've seen the commercials, but Reality is apparently very pissed off that people play with a VR headset. Love those commercials, by the way. Fantastic marketing. But did you ever think about its practical application?
I have, certainly in a theoretical sense, with VR and more with AR, but I still haven't seen any examples of them using VR, he says, in a very scripted manner.
Because
in a practical
apparently,
application.
Russ Moloko Farm in Moscow's Ramensky district
Farm, Moscow, continue.
decided to test out the idea that bovine cows, who are, for milking purposes, kept in chutes and small areas and more cows per every small area and things like that. And they researched putting VR headsets on the cows' heads to try to give them the idea of simulated open world, open field. I don't know what cows would choose to play on VR, but I don't think it's Beat Saber. But they are apparently, to quote the representative from the farm, examples of dairy farms from different countries show that a calm atmosphere, the quantity and sometimes quality of milk increased markedly. So they're starting
so
to
this
do.
is actually research that's been done, and it's so far turned out positive.
Yes, and they're
It's not just someone's trying this wacky thing over in Russia. Mm-hmm. No, it's okay. They've actually been.
They're trying it out, and they haven't gotten enough data to definitively say VR better tasting milk, VR more milk, or VR bad tasting milk. Yeah. But soon they will have.
But at least possibly VR humane, which I'm sure is going to have animal rights groups all up in a whoa, what? Hold up. We're not sure about this.
There's also some sort of they live lesson to be had from watching other creatures on this planet be culled and calmed by using of video games and things.
You know what I bet cows play on VR?
What's that?
Goat Simulator.
It's very possible. They might also play Bread Simulator. They really might. They might just figure out how to mess up. They really probably would like Goat Simulator because they can get back at the farmer.
No, they can. They're gonna release a VR game for humans where you are a cow and then they put a headset on you, so then you're a cow in this other thing, and it's just 3 layers deep.
Or do you really think that? Calling back to last week's episode, I can't believe I found a way. But do you think that they're just the cow level? They put the headset on. There's a halberd. There's some very confused-looking adventurer.
That's the VR Diablo game I want. As a cow,
and the cows know murder, and they just
murder. Next.
I have to say, for the cow level, I loved once you got in there, just the moo.
Mo.
That's our one per episode Diablo reference.
Oof. Oh boy. Just one? I have to restrain myself. A couple weeks ago, a new trailer came out for a video game movie, for Sonic the Hedgehog. And when the first trailer came out, reaction was not even mixed, just very much against the design of it. It was very...
nuclear bad!
Yeah. It was not good. And, the design wasn't good and everything like that. And everyone's like, oh my god, Sonic looks awful in this. Never mind the rest of the things where I'm mostly the movie looks okay. I'm excited to see Jim Carrey playing something wacky again, because it's been a while. But no, the design was I don't know, whatever. And Paramount, I know it's Paramount because they did the gag with their logo with the stars and turned them into the Sonic rings. Paramount said that they're going to delay the release. It originally would have been out by now.
Yes.
It would have been a November or December release. It would have been out by now. They said, what they said is, we're going to change... there's been such backlash. We've heard some great feedback. We're going to change what Sonic looks like. And then everyone was like, okay, great, but also, are you going to totally overload the CG artists with that? And after a couple weeks of suspense, they come back and say, no, we're pushing it back, and it's going to be a March or an April release now.
February 14th, okay. 2020 is when it's going to hit the U.S. market. My
guess is that they had those, it's those finished shots and not a whole lot of finished shots other than that for the trailer, because that's how these schedules go. So they, sorry, I was getting distracted by Moo Moo Farms. Hi, CJ Playmaker, how you doing? So my guess is that there was a lot of discussion in the team of, is this going to work and isn't this going to work? And eventually someone was like, let the public decide. Put it out there, see what people say.
I mean, nothing focus tests to your average market better than 10 million opinions all hitting all at once.
Yeah, there's no better focus testing than put it on the internet where everyone complains really loud.
Yep.
It's going to give you skewed results, but in this case, I love the results. The new trailer dropped, and Sonic looks great. He looks properly proportioned. He fits into live action now.
To what we expect for Sonic the
what
Hedgehog.
Sonic should look like, instead of a mutated human being with weird teeth.
That was scary. That was very scary.
Yeah. So
and
now,
the redesign, by the way, there was some research. People were saying it cost them nearly $35 million, and they're never going to make the money back. $5 million tops to redo that because they pushed the movie.
So much goodwill that number one, they listen to the fans and say, okay, we're going to do something different with this. Number two, the gamers are very much noticing crunch and saying, okay, we're overloading the game dev team and crunch and everything like that. So as much as this is an issue in movies, it's an issue in games too. So all of these people that are like, wow, you're putting so much extra work on them, when they went and delayed it to make sure it was done right, that got them goodwill too. I don't know if I'm seeing the movie on release night, but I am buying a ticket for release night because I want to vote with my wallet and say, yes, you did the right thing. Opening weekend. I will see it opening weekend. I want to vote with my wallet and say, hey, this thing that you did is exactly what should be done. And I want to give you guys a financial incentive that if this happens again, or just to the industry as a whole, do it right, because we notice and we care.
CJ, the artist for Sonic Mania, had a big hand in the redesign, and Aurelia Dragonsbane acknowledging that you do gotta go fast, because otherwise fandom will just entirely dry up. Shenmue 3! Wow. Sorry.
Anything else to say on Sonic?
I'm just very excited. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
And I hope you all do too, because this is the one time where the internet complained about something and we got something, not just everything canceled. Looking at you, Fez, too.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, like I won't say I grew up with Sonic, because like I said, I was a PC gamer, but like when I went to visit my grandparents, where my uncle was living with my grandparents as well, he had a Genesis, so I was always playing Sonic 2.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, more than Mario, I was a Sonic guy.
Hold on, let's both more than Mario.
Sorry, just Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
And what Nintendo never will.
Do you remember when Sega made consoles? Let's talk about something more. All right. Hey, so other things. You found one more thing that is kind of in this news blurb, and that was about a world that is really, really weird. I was first introduced to the idea of speedrunning, and really seeing the magic behind it, when I saw a speedrun for the first Half-Life game. A game that takes 8, 10, 12 hours to play, saw it played in 55 minutes. Now that ratio isn't super insane, but I was still watching as someone grabs some trip mines and just sets them up so that as a step stool to jump over a wall and skip the entire Gargantua sequence. I'm like, what? It's one thing to play a little bit fast. It's another one to use exploits and get past the entire thing.
Yes.
And the way that people can do that is magical and sometimes obscene. Depending on how much of a purist you are for the game. And I've watched YouTube videos on something big that unlocks a big thing in speedrunning. And so the biggest news in speedrunning was playing a game that came out a couple of months ago. Hold on. I need to pay respects to Sega, Dave, as you pick up the thread about the latest speedrunning thing. Because you've got the article with you.
Apparently, speedrunning has become the thing to do in every game.
Yep.
But one in particular that caught my eye was speedrunning in an open world sandbox. One of those ones that the average playthrough is 6 to 8 hours, and that's if you just avoid every other side quest. Someone beat the Outerworlds in less than 12 minutes.
I don't even know how. Now, I'm still playing Outerworlds, and I'll talk a little bit about it shortly, but I don't even know how that's possible.
Apparently, the trick to it is to be really dumb. And by that I mean put 0 points into intelligence, because then certain things just do not happen for you, and people do not talk to you, so it doesn't trigger some events, or some events are waylaid because it just goes straight over your head. It's like an average day in the business for me.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with Outer Worlds is that you have the options to do so many different things. You can go on the plot line here and help this rogue scientist do the things, or you can just be like, rogue scientist, huh? Bounty on your head, huh? Ka-ching! And I imagine that's a much quicker play style, a much quicker storyline if you follow that, but there's still a full storyline for doing that. There's a ton of options where you can be like, turn in this guy for a bounty and still have game to play rather than just like stopping. So again, I imagine it went with that, but I'm not watching because I'm not done with Outer Worlds yet.
Exactly.
What's up, Jake?
How's it going?
Pretty good.
So, Demon Dragon, it's a speed run, but how much time is wasted finding the glitches to make the speed runs happen? Well, let's be honest, because of this open world that we now have on with Twitch and Mixer and all these things, you can watch people play through the game, and you can notice, oh, they did that way, and that worked, or this didn't work, or things like that.
I think a lot of that thing is actually doing the heavy lifting yourself.
Yeah.
And certainly standing on the shoulders of giants. If you see someone do a 46-minute speed run of some game, you'll see that, and you'll do your research and be like, this seems like a long time without finding a glitch. And you're just going to explore that whole world for a while, and eventually you find something. So yeah, it is a lot of time spent. I'm not going to say wasted, because speedruns aren't about saving time while playing a game. Like, that is the last thing that speedruns are about. Speedruns are about just the sheer numbers and doing what you can.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not how I play games. It's not how I prefer to play games. I will never do speedrunning. Most games that have time trial modes, I don't even bother with that, unless I have exactly one track and an option of 3 different cars and a demo of Revolt.
Or it's Recore.
No.
Thank you very much for the host, Amp Slayer, spreading the news and keeping the glasses nerdy.
I never want to stick Recore into my console again. The last episode came out last week, and I don't need to spend time in that game trying to find glitches, because you know what? They were pretty evident.
They were pretty prominent, and they presented themselves to us.
The right kind of glitches. No, and that's the kind of game that, like, a bunch of times it glitched on us in a bad way, and we had to, like, restart something. So, like, finding the right game to speedrun in itself is its own kind of challenge.
But the creators of the game sat down, the co-creators, Tim Kaine and Leonard, I'm going to butcher this, Boyarsky, sat down to watch the speedrun and were blown away that people with the game being out less than 2 months had managed to just find all that stuff. Like,
is there like a YouTube video or something of them reacting to the speedrun? At least please send me that article, because man, do I want to see that. Like, I need to watch the speedrun, and I need to watch their reaction to it as soon as I finish the game, which I'm going to try to do pretty soon.
I'm going to drop the speedrun, the article in chat here.
Okay.
If you have not played the game yet, it does feature spoilers because they beat the game during the entirety of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works. Playmaker, I'm with you as far as how to play games. I don't need to worry about the record. I very rarely even go for 100% completion. Like, if Recore was a good game, I might have gone back for more collectibles, but even then, I usually don't. I have in, like, Assassin's Creed, maybe Assassin's Creed 2, and Need for Speed Most Wanted. It's the only time that I've gone and, like, done everything kind of thing. I didn't in Mad Max, which I plan on playing again pretty soon. So, it's certainly its own way to play, and as much as it's not how I play, I really enjoy seeing what people do with it.
Absolutely.
With Outer Worlds, I will say I've been playing this game since it came out, and not like, hours a day kind of thing. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to get to it in a couple weeks, but I think I'm getting towards the end. But I'm really loving this game. It is Mass Effect kind of thing, because you're gathering a team into your ship, going planet to planet to do things.
Yeah.
By way of Fallout 4, because it's from first-person perspective and that kind of dialogue tree and everything like that. Open world, a lot more even than Mass Effect is. With atmosphere of Firefly, because it is a sci-fi western. And like, if you aren't a fan of that aesthetic, like, at first I was like, oh, I want something a little sleeker for my armor. I was looking in the wrong game. It's a very well used future. It is a lot of stuff cobbled together with very few examples. Everything is, very obviously, here's part of this helmet, we're going to take this shoulder pad from this other thing, combine it over here as far as the visual aesthetic goes. But it's just gorgeous. It is such a pretty game. I love the art style. And the storyline has been really fun to play through. You can have up to 6 companions in the game. 2 with you at any one time, but 6 companions that you hire onto your ship.
Yeah.
And I am my first time through kind of playing for some achievements, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll get all the companions and get the all for one achievement, then I'll do all their missions and get the one for all achievement. But I know when I play it again, there are 2 people that I am not taking along. Absolutely. I hate them. I'm like, I do not want you on my ship. I can, in fact, you can kick someone off your ship at any time. It's like, Pavarti, I think we've had enough. Time to part ways. Say it ain't so, Captain. Yep. It's so. Off you go. Like, I was like, what's this dialogue choice? And she was like, oh no. And I was like, oh no, you're one of the good ones. I want to hold on to you. There's the combat works really well. I don't. In most of these styles of games, I don't do a whole lot of directing the teammates.
Yeah.
But yep. A lot of these games, I don't do a whole. Oh no, the mic's back there. Hold on.
It can still hear you.
No, it's fine. So I don't do a lot of directing the teammates. I just kind of let them do their own thing. But it works really well. The teammates are intelligent enough to do their own thing. As you level them up, you get to pick their choices. I like how the leveling up works, being able to add to your stats, picking feats every now and then. And actually the most interesting, the best experience that I had so far was actually just a conversation in a bar. One of your teammates is interested in a romantic relationship with an NPC, someone that you don't have on your team, just someone who's in one of the bases that you're at. And so she's really nervous about it, and she has kind of this crisis of I'm not sure if I should go for it because the character is asexual, by the way, so representation, she's I don't know if she'll be into a relationship without a physical contact because there's always those expectations, and I'm just really nervous, a really shy, nervous person trying to talk through relationship stuff. And you get the chance to go with her to the bar, have a few drinks with her, and just kind of she opens up to you about her relationship, and I'm like, I have been that person. That people are having some sort of issue in a relationship and they talk to me. And that was the most real thing in this game, was just talking with one of my teammates in a bar over drinks. Usually when I have that kind of conversation, it's not in a bar. But I mean, whatever you take what you have. So, yeah, Outerworlds is fantastic. I haven't finished it yet, and I will probably talk more about it after I have. But for now, it's a really good game. And again, it's interesting that, it was announced at E3 last year. Gorgeous. And the people that are into sci-fi western were just all over it. The people that were into Obsidian were like, oh yeah, I'm definitely paying attention.
Yeah.
And then it kind of dropped off the radar for a while. I saw a copy at GameStop. I saw a pre-order box at GameStop. I was like, oh, interesting. Went to Best Buy and pre-ordered it. And then almost forgot about it again. But the thing that happened before release was that then Fallout was like, hey, we're announcing this subscription thing that you gotta pay for. And everyone was like, ew. Oh, what's this thing that this other Fallout developer's been doing? We're really interested in that. And all of a sudden, Outerworlds was flying off the shelves on release.
It did really also help that Fallout New Vegas was the last Fallout game that people didn't ardently despise, and it also didn't, just be careful around your copies of Fallout 76 and Fallout 4. If you leave your mouth open too big, it'll spit directly into it right at you, just for having purchased the game. Just as a heads up.
I mean, it likes you, but it just wants to claim you as its own.
It wants your attention any way it can get it.
Just kind of male dog lifting a leg and saying, "That's mine."
Mine and mine and mine.
Mine. So Outerworlds has this very neat sci-fi aesthetic. And like, there's not a whole lot of sci-fi westerns out there. Again, it gives me comfortably warm feelings of Firefly. And, you know, some shades of Cowboy Bebop with the ship art style kind of thing. But not all sci-fi aesthetics are Western. Some can be very sleek. Some can be not used at all, but brand new and shining. And it is this future that Elon Musk sees for Tesla when he showed off the Cybertruck a couple of weeks ago.
I shared a CNBC link with a very proud picture of a proud-looking Elon Musk.
Yep.
It's really for the picture, not for the article itself. I'm sure the article is fascinating. I just did not have time while Boda
He
was
talks
talking
about
to
how
me.
rugged the thing is and how far it can get on a charge and everything like that. And it's like, all right, cool, we're going to drop a ball on the windshield just to show how strong it is, and the ball kind of thunks off and it's fine. And he's like, we're going to wing a ball at the windshield, cracks. Huh. Okay, well, we're going to wing a ball at this other piece of glass and it'll be fine. Huh. Cracks.
I mean,
And then the show must go on, so he just keeps presenting with the cracked windows on the prototype
but I mean,
behind
it
him.
didn't blow up into a million pieces. Like, that's the...
Elon basically is a real-life Bond villain. I mean, don't even say Bond character, Bond villain. He is. He wants to be. That's, yeah.
On the scale of corporations and rich people doing evil things, though, I think he would be the supervillain because he's been really under the radar. He lets us know I have a flamethrower and a spaceship and this and that and the other. Ha ha! And now I'm going to give you that drawing you made in the first grade when they were like, draw your parents' truck. And like...
And while everyone's all distracted with that, all the labor awfulness that happens at that plant, and I'm not going to get him pulled into another discussion trying to defend human rights here, Dave. But anyway, Elon Musk does the Bond villain thing like really well, and he totally embraces it. Like, you know, he's done the pose with a fluffy cat and the Dr. Evil thing.
A question posited to you while Boder and I vamp on this for another
Yeah,
moment.
I was about to say, because this question that you're asking...
game do you think the Cybertruck would best fit into?
Because it looks like a low poly rendering. It looks like it has all of 7 polygons across the entire model. Like, I'm not even tempted to call it a real thing. I'm tempted to call it a CG model. Not because it looks fake, but just because it has such a low poly count. Like, it has that brushed aluminum or brushed steel look to it that looks really nice, looks really attractive, doesn't actually hold up in the real world, but looks really good on a showroom stage. And yeah, it's got like like maybe 15 vertices.
Yep.
Rush 2049 says CJ Playmaker. Did you all see it was modded into GoldenEye? Already. Oh my god, yes.
I love.
That's the thing, yeah. Oh, I could totally see it in an N64 era game. What do you think, Dave? You said you had a couple ideas in mind for where you think the Cybertruck fits?
I had a couple.
It's Porygon as a car.
But to be honest, I just couldn't. Once I thought of this one game, I couldn't get out of my head, and that is the original Twisted Metal.
Yep.
It is literally the representation of some post-apocalyptic world. Someone goes, "Fuck it, we're grabbing a polygon, we're putting wheels on it, and a rocket launcher on the back."
Yeah, it is a mid to late 90s computer video game model. And it has that rugged look for Twisted Metal, where it's just going to be like, oh, what are you in the way? Just Pori truck. Oh gosh, Amp Slayer posted the YouTube video. I may have to check that out later, because I'm going to save that for later. But yeah, it looks rugged. Like, it has that look to just be like, guess what? Beep, beep, honk, and just do it. So I'm excited for that. Oh god.
Rush 2049 from CJ Playmaker. Yep. I could see it. I could definitely see that as being a vehicle that someone would somehow correctly assume would be in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that with everything that happens, you just realize that we are getting into a future. And I mean, it
Folks, it's
feels
less
kind
than a
of
month and it'll be 2020.
Hey, guess what? Blade Runner happened last month. Los Angeles, November 2019 was last month. No.
Now, Mr. Bond, you must buy my truck.
My thoughts for where this vehicle belongs is a racing game that I played called Pod. And Pod actually did also come out on the PlayStation 1. It had like 6 cars available. And it was also out on the PC where there was 8 cars and then 16 cars and then downloadable for like 50-something cars. I'm going to show a couple cars now just to kind of give you an idea of the look from this game. Of course, it's also kind of dark, so maybe that one doesn't work that well. Get that out of here.
You can see it.
Yeah, I'm looking on the screen there. Yeah, this kind of has about the same number of faces on it as the other one. And this one looks the most like it. I never raced using this car, but yeah, it absolutely looks like this is taking the platform that the Cybertruck runs on, lowering it a little bit and calling it the Cybercar. Here we go. The Tesla Cybercar as envisioned in Pod 24 years ago.
And you know what I'm going to say here now? I want that Tesla vehicle in grip now. Like, I want it. I want it because I want that vehicle to go upside down.
The wheels actually look a whole lot like the wheels in Grip.
Yes.
I will say that there's a lot of polygons spent on the wheels. Their poly budget was spent on the wheels. They look gorgeous. They would just need to do something with the wheels on the Cybertruck to get them big enough for that upside down thing. It's been a while since we played Grip. We should do that. Get a whole bunch of people together and play that again pretty soon. Yeah. Everything that man does, that Elon Musk does, is just very like supervillain. Like, I'm going to invent a way to move people under the ground. Maybe like a whole bunch of people on one vehicle at a time. You've just invented a subway. But instead of trains, I'm going to move a single vehicle at a time that can have 5 people on it. You've invented an underground highway. No, but it's a narrow tube that only one can go down at a time at maybe 40 miles an hour. You're insane.
No, I'm rich.
Yeah. You've gone mad with power. Of course I have. Have you tried going mad without power? It's terrible. Nobody listens to you. I think we've run the Tesla well dry for a moment. We'll come back next week when it fills up with more disgusting futuristic water.
When someone tweets this episode at Elon Musk and he buys us and cancels it.
I'll take that payout. We'll change the name and it'll be... No, never mind.
Shh, that's what you do when you just take the money and you walk away.
Hi, Elon, we love you. Sometimes.
Seriously, I want a flamethrower.
Oh, I would love a flamethrower. We're getting off track.
That's okay.
Hold on.
That's okay. We're pandering to...
I'm pandering to myself. Where's my pen? I just want to write flamethrower over today's notes. In red ink. Flamethrower. The kids love this one.
So, just in case you didn't hear, for some magical reason, this weekend was Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and something Sunday, but to be honest, it was snowing and I didn't give a rip. And then Cyber Monday.
And today is Giving Tuesday.
Listen,
also,
folks,
there was some sort of holiday before all that. I honestly...
We're going to have a parade day parade.
But I did literally say Black Friday weekend. Is a thing that I said, and I hated myself for it.
We're getting ever closer to the Futurama Parade Day parade. It's going to be great. It's going to take 2 days, and then we're going to be done with it.
But yeah, like, it was... So I had the good fortune to be off both Black Friday and Small Business Saturday.
God.
Because I work retail at a small business. So they they were in fact really crazy at the store that I work at. So stop doing that. My keyboard keeps shutting off. It might just be out of power. But I had the good fortune to not be doing anything those 2 days. I'm sorry to gloat, but Dave, I don't think you had the same good fortune.
I was fortunate enough to be off Thanksgiving because Dan is a saint. But we then all took turns fighting back the hordes on Black Friday in this mall because I'm convinced somewhere in the Adirondacks is a cave.
Did you guys lose a new hire? Did anyone get trampled to death in here?
No, but Sean, speaking of recent hires, did come in and then disappear, and I worried. I worried that someone realized he
Someone
may have
just
been
carted him off, decided, this employee's for sale.
like,
Sale,
la, 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 la. Half employee.
Just cart him out like he's crowd surfing out the door.
But
got as far as FYE before they were like, oh wait, we gotta go pay for him, bring him back.
What do you mean this coupon's not valid? You can hear the holiday shoppers wandering hissing through the halls like some sort of evil, venomous ichor filled. I was fortunate this year. I didn't have a small mental breakdown when someone shopping on Thursday, which was Thanksgiving, says, "Oh well, I think it's terrible. You have to work today." What do you mean you don't take checks? I need to speak to your manager. Like, if you're one of those people that you shop on Thanksgiving and then you acknowledge how bad it is that you're shopping on Thanksgiving, kill yourself.
Yeah, really, like any holiday or like on a snow day, which Sunday and Monday were really snowy around here. And so, oh wow, you guys, sometimes it was, oh wow, you guys are open, thank you. And at the end of a phone call, I got a safe drive on your way back home. Those are the angels. Not so much the ones that were like, oh wow, you're open today, huh? Well.
Yep. Bad people. It was the last hurrah for the PlayStation 4.
We love all of our customers.
No, I love my customers. I effing hate those cave people who come into this mall and who saunter around. I remember you. I had to break a fight up with you people when I worked at Target because you were fighting over $5 bath towels. Die. And today. They did. Adults. I work in education, okay? That's my other career. And I had to use teacher voice to get people to stop fighting over towels because the display ran out. Spoiler alert. Behind me were like another 17 racks of those said towels that two adults were beefcaking each other about. Seriously. But it was the last hurrah for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One because this time next year we will be talking definitively about those systems. But to be honest, this year Black Friday, kind of meh.
Yeah.
Kind of meh. There really wasn't. All the companies were smart and had their releases well in advance of or after Black Friday.
Especially because, and I think I've noticed this at the store that I work, because this is the latest Thanksgiving could possibly be. And it's like 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks to Christmas. Mm-hmm. 4 weeks basically to Christmas from Thanksgiving. All the releases happened ahead of time. So the games are out, the books are out, the merchandise is out and ready for you to buy on Friday. But no one wanted to release on Friday. Certainly, like, today was new release day at the bookstore. And there were very few new releases. There were still some, but most of the big ones were October, November, so that they're out and there's chat about them and people thinking about them and adding them to their Christmas lists. This late, with Thanksgiving being so late, it's not a big release kind of time. And so this next, now, 3 weeks is going to be... Did I say 3 weeks? 3 weeks is going to be busy. But I think that enough people were pre-shopping and shopping before Black Friday and stuff that it's not going to be as crazy as it sometimes can be.
This time next year, I want that to be me. I want to have my Christmas presents either picked out or shopped for because I definitely have everyone shopped for and picked out, and I haven't not now just been starting to do that.
I see one name on his pad, and there's a question mark next to it. So whoever...
It's not even clear.
So whoever David is, I'm sorry. And whoever not Davids there are out there, you're not important.
I think I'm getting me a new PlayStation.
So yeah, the last holiday season for the current generation consoles, and the thing is that as someone who is not in the industry as much, I'm not seeing a ton of huge releases this year, and I'm wondering if that's because some of the energy that goes towards that is being held back to be for the PS5 and for what's it called, Project Scarlet.
Yeah, I haven't even looked it up because Microsoft really hasn't said anything themselves, and I ardently refuse to now acknowledge secondhand information from people that have been fired by these companies for upwards of like a decade. When they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll tell Kotaku that they were working on a deep fat fryolator to add to the system, so it'll make your food while you play."
So we're gonna call it until it's announced. We're gonna call it the Xbox 17 because Microsoft can't do numbers.
Yep.
So the PS5 and the Xbox 17 are gonna be Dan like that
Got
one.
Got him.
The PS5 and the Xbox 17 are gonna be out next year. So games that might have come out in this window are kind of being pushed back and be like, no, you're going to be launch games for PS5, XB17. And I think, yay, PlayStation.
Have they announced any launch games?
No, they're keeping it very tight-lipped.
Halo and not Infinity. There's a Halo one that's going to be announced for it. That has been announced for it.
Real quick, give one launch game you think it's definitely going to launch. Either one.
A Halo game for. Why?
Don't pick an easy one, Boder. Be creative.
God of War sequel.
Ooh. Interesting.
I think there'll be a God of War sequel at launch. It's been long enough that it could definitely be.
I'm gonna say a Tomb Raider one for the Xbox 17 because it's been a few years since we've had a Tomb Raider. They got that exclusivity on the third one, and I think that they can ride that out. So I think we'll see a Tomb Raider
Surprised you didn't go with
exclusive.
Forza.
Well, you told me not to do the easy ones.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Would the PlayStation Fryer be able to plug in the USB port, or need its own power supply?
It would need its own power supply
the
at launch.
information we got from the gentleman who was a custodian of a building next to the PlayStation development building said that it would need its own power supply and also a subscription to work. I'm just saying.
I think it'll run through USB when the USB 4 standard comes out, and then there will be enough power going through that. And at that point, they'll have, slimmed down the internals of the PS5 enough. There'll be room for that too. Because the PS2, I am astonished. I have a PS2 Slim at my house right now, and every time I see an original PS2 and it's 5 times the size, I'm astonished that the same console was downsized that much. And so yes, the PS5 will be downsized enough so that it won't need a separate power supply. It'll just run off the same power supply as the console by the end of its release cycle.
But holiday 2020, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone had a joyous and happy Thanksgiving. But let's all remember here, folks, that just because your name is printed on a badge that you have to wear doesn't make you less of a people than someone who has an Amex credit card. Okay? Black Friday 2019, bad. Case closed. We've only got a couple more minutes, Boder, but I know you wanted to talk about something in your industry.
Yeah, so, we started when we start. We got about 10 minutes left if we're going for the full hour. Yeah, so I do books. It's my thing. And I really enjoyed, and so I sometimes get advanced copies of books. I do a lot of reading now. I'm pretty familiar, especially with sci-fi books that are coming out. I mentioned new releases. There was a really cool one called Dead Astronauts that came out today by Jeff Vandermeer, and its cover looks gorgeous. It is very colorful. The
title as a Star Trek fan entices me.
Most sci-fi book covers are blue or purple or black kind of thing, and this is tie-dye, not just rainbow. It's tie-dye. It looks gorgeous, and so that's what I keep up on. And So aside from latest releases, I also sometimes am recommended something older. So there's a book that's coming out in February called Finna that takes place in an IKEA and has to do with dimension jumping. And I'm like, I've talked to a couple of my coworkers. I'm like, I'm really excited to get this one. I tried to get an advanced copy and unfortunately couldn't. And I was talking with, have you read Horrorstör? I'm like, well, what's that? Oh, it's a horror novel set in an IKEA. Yes, please. I would like to get this book that looks like an IKEA catalog. It is a horror novel, and I don't do horror in basically any format whatsoever. I don't watch horror movies. I barely play horror games, and if I do, it's because it has some other aspect of it that makes it really good. Like the artificial intelligence in Fear is amazing. Makes it a great shooter. So I grin and bear it through the horror elements. We still need to finish Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Yeah.
But, so I made my way through this, and I really, really enjoyed it. The plot is fine. The characters are good. There's some good commentary on working minimum wage or close to enough retail. But where it really shines is just the presentation. It looks like an IKEA catalog, and I don't just say that. I mean, it was sitting on the coffee table at my in-laws' place. I was checking something on my phone because I did two things over Thanksgiving. I downloaded a new game on my phone because I was sick of seeing the ads and is it any good? And it actually is. Actual shocker. And I read this book. So it was sitting on the coffee table, and my mother-in-law goes by and is like, "What's an IKEA catalog?" And I'm like, "Well, no." And she's like, "Oh, okay." Like, you open it up, and it's got, the order form in the front, where you can write in product number and everything. And at the bottom of the order form is the bit where they get on every copyright page saying text copyright 2014 by Grady Hendrix. No part of this book may be reproduced in any form. Library Congress catalog and publication number, blah, ISBN. Typeset in Futura and Sentinel. Like, yes, I noticed it was Futura because it's my favorite font, Dave. I have a favorite font, and it's what IKEA uses, so it's what this book uses. At the beginning of each chapter...
Times New Roman.
Get with the times, New Roman. Oh. At the beginning of every chapter, it shows, like, a product illustration in the style of an IKEA thing. So, like, the sofa or whatever. And as you go further and further into the book, then it just gets more and more grotesque, what's being shown. Like this restraint collar with a bell coming from it. And each of the things are something that is actually in the following chapter, whether it's the sofa or if it's the wardrobe that someone ends up getting trapped inside of and thinks, "Oh God, I'm gonna die in an IKEA wardrobe." It takes the joke of, "Wow, the showrooms are so big and hard to navigate, and it's easy to get lost, haha," and actually has people like getting lost in this. Basically, what happens is that a ton of stuff keeps happening. There's weird stuff happening in the store overnight. Nobody knows what's going on, except there's like a poop stain on the sofa in the morning. And just the store keeps doing really, really awful. So 3 employees stay overnight. The point of view character, who is like worried she's about to get fired and is like just doing what she can to get by. There's the teen mom character, and there's the really annoying assistant manager character. All 3 of whom stay overnight to make sure that the store is going to be fine. But sure enough, things get all Scooby-Doo up in this, where, oh, there's an open door. Oh no, it's just these other employees that were sneaking in. And then things get actually scary because, oh yeah, did you know that this store was built on the grounds of an old prison where people were sent and there was this crazy warden? Yeah, it's one of those stories. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. It was a good baby's first horror novel. And I really enjoyed the presentation. Apparently the audiobook, rather obviously can't have illustrations, but these parts that are like product descriptions and stuff are read in a very like announcery advertisement radio voice, in between the actual narration. So that is Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix. If you like horror novels, I would say check it out because he's done some other stuff that is all like kind of interestingly themed. Currently in our horror section over at Northshire, we've got like something that looks like a VHS tape because it's themed around that. And if you haven't read horror before but are looking to get into it and you have any familiarity with IKEA, go for it. I enjoyed it.
And then get Stephen King novels. You're welcome.
I mean, if you go to the horror section of a bookstore, it's going to be 2/3 Stephen King.
Yeah, that's okay. His short fiction, in my opinion, is a little bit better.
Okay. Okay.
Not gonna lie, I like his short stories.
Like I said,
And
I
they're
don't
all
do
collected
horror, so
in
I haven't
very
actually read
good
any,
books.
so. Okay. Very nice. Okay, I think we can push that.
Yes.
Bye. Oh no! Don't crease the pages. Don't. Yeah, it's fine if you fall, but don't crease those pages. Yeah, we can save that for next week. So, anything else you wanted to add for this week, Dave?
I did want to talk about what you're wearing.
Yes, actually. Thank you for
What?
reminding me.
What? Let me borrow from a famous. It's Steve's fault. He did it. It's definitely Steve's fault. God, we managed to squeak in all the references from all streams. But I'll do another reference. What are those?
These are Ritual Motion Warrior gaming skins. I'll get close to the camera and try to show off a little bit. But they are actually
Ritual what?
Ritual Motion. Ritual
Motion.
Motion is the brand name of these, and they were crowdfunded on Indiegogo a couple of months ago, and it wrapped up. And one of the options for the crowdfunding was to get your own design on your skins. And so I got the Butterbug design on mine, like my personal logo. It feels really cool to be doing. Got that designed, and no promises yet, but like I'm also a Ritual Motion affiliate. So like if you're I'm sorry, plug, if you get anything off of the Ritual Motion website and use the code BOATER at checkout, I get credit. But like I will be seeing about trying to get these in the shop as well. So like the skins themselves are, wicking away sweat kind of thing. Like so, your hands will get all grody on the controller.
Yeah.
We've cleaned up some disgusting controllers in our time. Like even my own controllers, I will occasionally like take a piece of paper and fold it up a little bit and just run it along the seam along the side of an Xbox controller, and you get some disgusting crap out of there. And so like, if your hands get really, really sweaty when you're playing, and it sometimes makes it hard to hold the controller,
Mike.
because your name happens to rhyme with Fike Matista.
Does that loser still work there? Oh, hey, what's up?
We're live at twitch.tv actually doing a podcast at
now.
this moment.
At this moment. So if your hands get super sweaty, then it's the kind of thing that like wicks the sweat away and keeps you having a good solid grip on the controller. And if you get the Warrior 2 gaming gloves, they also have wrist support. So I actually, the past couple days, have been wearing one on my right hand because like at my job, the counters are all at this level. And this is not a good, proper posture kind of thing to be
Because you're
doing
one
with
of them,
your
they're
wrists.
tall.
I'm one of them,
See-
they're talls.
Yeah, see-
I'm what Strange Planet refers to as a long being.
Yep.
And so like this is not good for wrists to kind of do that. So like this is just forcing me to keep my hand a little more straight, and I'm seeing how it works. Like it might be too much compression, it might not work awesome, but who knows? Like I will certainly. Sorry, I got sidetracked by you dropping in the link. So I'll see how this works. Like I've been keeping the one on my right hand when I'm at work, just to kind of keep myself from doing that with my wrist. And hopefully it works well. But even then, if you just get the Warrior 1 gloves, they don't have the Velcro strap around it for the support. But no, like I like them so far. My design came out awesome. Steph got some as well that are a community design. There's a couple of standard Ritual Motion designs with their logo. There's some that are designed by community members that look great. And like the quality seems nice. Like I'm not worried that they're gonna come apart. The stitching seems solid. My one nitpick is that the fabric like pulls really easily. So like if I put it up against the Velcro, like the Velcro kind of pulls on it a little bit, and it's just obvious where it's like pulling up little bits in the fabric. Other than that, like the fabric itself is fine. It just kind of looks not great for the design on it, but that's fine. I may end up getting another pair just to have like at home, and then keep these at work. So who knows?
So
Your goatee is very on point.
ritualmotion.com/shop, and in the checkout you enter.
Yes. I'm told that like my code is just BOTER, BOTER. If you punch that in, then I get like credit as an affiliate for it. I also have an affiliate link, but it is going to take me a long time to try to pull that up and just drop that into chat instead. I'll have it ready to go in the future.
Nice.
But cool. CJ Playmaker will probably pick them up for Christmas. Yeah, like a lot of people have already been posting, like when they got theirs, that they're super comfortable. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm just wearing them all the time, kind of thing. Like I won't be doing that with these because they have the limited motion in the wrists, and if I don't need to have them on, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I never really have a problem with sweaty hands anyway, but people that do, or people that just like having that little bit of extra grip on a controller, it comes out really nice. So I'm looking forward to giving them a bit more testing like this weekend as I play Outerworlds and maybe finish it, who knows. I also, this weekend, I need to watch a bunch more Star Wars, because I've started my Star Wars rewatch.
Nice.
And I'll probably talk more about that next week. See if I can get through all of the Star Wars movies. Certainly the week after that, leading up to the release of Rise of Skywalker. I think that'd be a really good time to talk about the series as a retrospective. So that'll be 2 weeks from now, right here on the Nerd Glasses podcast. And if you have any other ideas or anything that you want to let us know, you can tweet at us. I am BoaterBug on Twitter.
At DAM314.
That's a really good way to suggest things that you want to hear us talk about on the Nerd Glasses podcast. But for this week, I think we're about set. Need him to keep up with the Christmas Smash Bros. Battles to ensure. Yes, you show up with these, you're like, I'm ready. Let's do this. And people are going to be like, you suck, coming up with that kind of thing. Meanwhile, I'm like showing up in the gamer gloves and the gamer glasses, and I'm like, bring it. And then I get my ass handed to me. But I feel good.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Nerd Glasses podcast. We are live every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here at Insane Games TV. Anything more to add?
Elon Musk, I want a flamethrower and also $1 million, or I would settle for a hamburger and a conversation with you, or a tweet.
Speaking
at me.
of hamburgers, Burger King, we're here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a good one, and we will see you right here in Nerd Glasses Podcast and Insane Games TV. Have a good night.